some of the biggest work with the commercial crew, commercial cargo, missions to the International Space Station. Those are government contracts, but you're seeing these private companies competing for the contracts to begin with and then using their technology to venture out into other types of space industry. And I think that's pretty interesting. Jennifer, one of the areas that I know has yet to develop on the Space Coast is that supply chain. Mm-hmm. That, you have the big main companies, but there still needs to be those other people who do, I don't know, they machine, they weld, they do...
Make some sort of a widget that goes on a wall.
They make some sort of widget that goes onto a...
Yeah.
Where on the timeline are we with that, do you suppose?
I mean, when you're talking environment, from what we feel like, maybe 50%. I mean, there's so much more that could be untapped with that. And I do not claim to be a space expert, and I'm not even a business expert. I'm around a lot of businesses, I'm around a lot of different things, but especially for our chamber, we definitely focus on space. We're right next to the port. We have a focus on military and tourism and hospitality. So when you talk supply chain, I mean, overall, I think that all of our industries could be pulling in more things that could help across the board. It's not just space, but for space, absolutely, and I think back to your point about everyone kind of running the gamut, Boeing, Lockheed, there's different focuses too, right, which is really exciting. So you have deep space, you have, are we going to an asteroid, are we going to Mars, what's our specialty, what's the capsule going to do, what is it made for? So I think if you look at all the different companies, I mean, just even using my own father as an example, so he works for Unison, which is the division of GE up in Jacksonville. And I had no idea. He came down with his boss for a launch, and they were there because they made a part that was on the rocket. And I had no idea they're an aviation company and not aerospace. So I had no idea that they even made anything tied to it. But that's all the little things that trickle into different parts. And I'm not sure how much of that we have here. So for instance, Jacksonville, they make a little part that goes on the rocket. There's a lot here, but I don't know how much more we could really get here for the supply chain. I don't claim to be an expert on it, but I think that we're headed in the right direction, but we're not at max capacity, if that makes sense.
It could happen pretty much anywhere these days.
Anywhere.
It would be nice if it happened here, and I think the thing that I hope for as a person with a son who's in engineering school, I would love him to come back here and invent that little widget.
Yeah.
Yes,
and there's great opportunity to be an entrepreneur in Brevard County, get plugged in.
And there's a lot of agencies across the county that are working hard to make sure that they come back here. Yes. Whether it's economic development or career source or anything else. I mean, there's programs all across the county that are really trying to capture the talent that we produce, have them come right back here and help work on the things that we specialize in. So I think we're on our way, and we'll see where it takes us.
Yes, I think that we would attract a lot of the industries here, because this is a wonderful environment, and I think the politicians are very sensitive to what it takes to attract business here. The governor, the cities, the counties, etc. Everyone's working to attract the business. We also have a fine school, an FIT, and we produce great intellectual people. I think the whole concept of the shuttle and the rocket ship is changing. I remember when we had a lot of issues with exactly how about the tile. Remember when the tile was not the heat resistant that it's supposed to be? And in fact, when Columbia blew up, they believe it had something to do with the tiles and their heat resistance or how they're attached, etc. But now the technology is so far advanced that it's gone way beyond those possibilities. And I think you're going to see a growth in the related industry, space-related industry in this community. I think this is a community industry-friendly community, and I think it's going to take off.
Okay, but now you said a moment ago, it doesn't matter if there's somebody on that rocket or not, but come on. Isn't it just a little bit more exciting when you know there are human beings strapped into
risk. There's more risk, so I feel like you're a little nervous,
It's the suspense.
Well, it's very exciting.
It's not your $1 billion going up and blowing up when it's a rocket, but when there's a person tied to it, everybody feels that. So
yeah, well, it's very exciting when there's a person, because we need someone to speak to the Martians.
Right.